Nobody's around. Hey guys, so you want a sound system, but you don't know where to start. Well, you're in luck. So today's video, I'm going to go over some of the biggest car audio secrets to not only help you get started, but to also make your sound system sound awesome. So let's get to it. Okay, so one of the problems that a lot of people starting out have are knowing what size speakers will fit in their doors, for example, or which ones to buy, because there's literally hundreds of options. I always recommend, if you're first starting out and you don't have a lot of money, you can make, maybe some cheaper equipment sound really, really good if you install it properly. But I'll get to that topic a little bit later on. So what do you do if you don't know what size speakers to buy for your doors to replace the factory ones? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I go over to Crutchfield.com and punch in all the vehicle information, and they pretty much tell you everything that'll fit, and even things that won't fit, or if it's a modified fit, they'll show you what you need to do to make it work. Let's take a look at that now. Okay, so here we are at Crutchfield.com. I'm going to go right here where it says find what fits your vehicle. Click that. We're going to use my personal truck, which is a 21 Ram 2500. So we'll scroll down here until we find Ram. There we go. 2500 Mega Cab. And we have the 12-inch screen along with the Harman & Kardon sound system. And there it is. So you can see it even has pictures for reference, and it varies from vehicle to vehicle, but this is all the parts that fit my 2500 Ram, including like the front door speakers and the dash and even that little center channel there. It'll even show all of the other little parts that they have offered for my vehicle, and it varies from vehicle to vehicle, but you can see how this could be a very useful tool. Pretty cool, huh? So you just punch in the vehicle information and it'll pretty much show you anything you want to know about what will or won't fit your vehicle. Let's move on. Another topic that we come across a lot is people that are installing amplifiers in their vehicles. So, I'm sure you've heard it before, but it takes power to make power, and I can't stress that enough. If you are trying to put a 5,000 watt amp or just some massive amp inside your car, your stock electrical system probably not going to be able to keep up with it. You're going to have to upgrade a few things. You can start with a better quality battery under the hood, even adding secondary batteries, maybe 3, depending on your application. The other thing is your alternator, the power plant. Your battery really only is there to start the car. After that, everything runs off of your alternator. So you need to have a good, solid electrical system behind your stereo system. Otherwise, it's just not going to perform the way that you expect it to. And, it will reduce the life of your equipment. If you don't have the proper power plant, your amplifiers and everything are going to run hot. They're not going to perform the way that you want, and you're just overall not going to be happy. So a very strong electrical system upgrade is a good place to start. So right along with electrical systems and upgrading that power plant, batteries, alternators, and the like, one of the most important things that a lot of people overlook is your ground. A lot of these cars, they're just not made the way they used to. Let's face facts. These unibody cars, they're glued together, they're pinch welded. There's just not a lot of great places to ground. But you can use a multimeter on your ohm setting, and you can test to see if the ground location you're looking at is going to work for you or not. But what I always do is, when in doubt, I always run a ground straight to the battery, and that way I know for sure that I've got a perfect ground for the system. but you'd be surprised how many people overlook that. So that's one thing to consider whenever you're installing a stereo system, is the ground. One of the most important things. Okay, so right along with your electrical system and your ground, the other thing is the quality of wire that you use. You know, there's that old debate about what's better, CCA or OFC. Well, you know, I guess it really all depends on your application. If you're fighting a budget, you know, CCA may be all that you can afford. But I can tell you with certainty that OFC is going to be the better conductor out of the two. And if you don't know what CCA or OFC means, it's real simple. CCA is copper-clad aluminum. OFC is oxygen-free copper. Now, copper is a better conductor than aluminum. So, it is the wiser choice. It is a lot more expensive, but it will help your equipment run more efficiently, and it'll also help with your sound quality, believe it or not. So let's move on. Okay, so I think one of the most important things is to add a sound deadening treatment. Now, people have their opinions on this topic, but if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of this process. I think adding some sound deadening material on the inside of the door, for example, will help make your speakers, even the factory ones, sound much better than if you don't apply any sound deadening treatment at all. So what happens is the sound off of your speaker it does come off the front, obviously, but it also comes off the back of the speaker. So what we want to do is we want to help disrupt all those sound waves going backwards so that more sound is projected forward. And that's where the sound deadening comes into play. So if we could add some sound deadening on the inside of the door, particularly behind where the speaker sits, you're going to get better sound quality. And, you know, if you really feel like you want to go for the gusto, do the sound deadening treatment over the whole vehicle. Not only will it help your sound system sound better, but it'll also cut down on road noise, and it'll help with, you know, heat absorption into the vehicle. Some things to think about. So here is a project that I'm working on currently, and this is a really good example of what I mean by sound deadening behind on the door. And these little squares are placed behind where the speaker is to help break up the sound waves that come off the back of the speaker, which will help project the sound forward. Okay, so another topic is when you're going to put subwoofers in your vehicle. You need to know the correct type of enclosure that not only fits the vehicle, but also fits the type and size of the subs that you plan to use for your vehicle. So there's two basic types of enclosure. You have a sealed enclosure, and then you have a ported enclosure. And different subs have different specs and require different types. So that's something you need to, you know, consider whenever you're designing or building your system for your vehicle. Not only are there the different types, but they're made of different materials. So you have the prefab boxes, you know, you can buy at just about any flea market or online, made out of cheap materials. You know, they'll get the job done, but they're probably not going to have the best sound quality, and they're probably not going to last. Really, you want to buy something that, you know, it's not only made for your vehicle, but it's made out of really good materials. You know, like there's some companies out there that make enclosures out of Baltic birch, you know, such as the Gately enclosures, and they're lifetime enclosures. You buy it one time, and, you know, you'll be satisfied with that for good. I mean, it's a one and done kind of situation. So I recommend, you know, you do your research, you find one that will fit your vehicle, that also matches the parameters of your subs, and go from there. So, you know, be cautious about what you pick. Okay, so one of the points that a lot of people mess up on is tuning your system properly. Now, people can argue that, oh, well, I'll just tune it by ear. Well, can you? So I've been doing this a long time, and I'm not that great at it. I'd rather do it the right way and use some meters that will help set your gains and your crossover points. And I'll show you what those are here in just a second. Now, if you get your system tuned correctly on the front end, you're going to be amazed at how much better it will sound. Not to mention, it almost always eliminates the chances of you damaging your equipment. And that way it'll last for a long time. You get to enjoy it for a long time. So let me show you what these meters look like. So when it comes to tuning, there's a variety of different types of meters that you can use. I personally use these from SMD. They allow you to set your crossover points, they set your gains and all of that, and there's instruction booklets on how to use them. They can be quite pricey, so it could be something that you go to a shop and just have them professionally tune it for you. But these are the meters that I use most of the time. So my final point for today is a big one. Installation. I know. My buddy can do it way cheaper, right? Well, let's be honest. Cheap isn't always good. So I recommend that you do your research. You know, if you don't have the ability to install the system yourself, look online. Find a shop in your area that has a good reputation. It'll be pretty obvious. You know, there's shops that will just destroy your vehicle, and there's some that don't care. They're there for the $100, you know what I mean? So do your research. If you can't install the equipment yourself, find a good, reputable company that can do it for you. I mean, if it's installed correctly and all these steps that we've talked about today are taken, you can make some cheaper or mediocre equipment sound really great. You know, and if you can do that with cheap or mediocre equipment, just imagine what it would be like if you spent a few extra bucks and bought some high-end stuff. Well, some things to think about. So your buddy down the street that maybe has done his system and it sounds okay, yeah, he might be able to do it. But do you really want to chance it? Besides, if you're trying to learn how to do a system and make it sound the best that you can, it might be worth spending a little extra money on the installation and having it done correctly. All right, so my final thoughts. Talked about a lot today. It's definitely not an all-inclusive list. So if there's something you guys would like to learn more about, or if you want my opinions on something, hit me up in the comments below. And as always, like it, subscribe to it, and we'll keep these videos rolling. Catch you guys in the next video.